Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to the $39,000 Zenelite Equestrian Center CSI 4-star Meter 50 competition here at Wellington International. I'm Danny Waldman. I'm thrilled to be here to kick off this week's final FEI class, actually the final FEI class of the entire year here at Wellington International. It's usually beautiful in Wellington, Florida, but it has been a very stormy morning. It's been crazy, rainy and gray, but now the sun is starting to pop out and we're in for a great day of show jumping. Not only are we going to see the Meter 50 competition for the final class of this CSI 4-star, but catch us later this afternoon also for the National Grand Prix. But coming up shortly, we're going to see this $39,000 competition. There are 26 competitors ready to test the course set by world-renowned course designer Andy Christensen. It's a lovely 76 degrees Fahrenheit out, but it is getting a little bit windy out there, and it's been a bit soggy in the ground. I know the warm-up is certainly a little soggier, but the ring looks good. The course is set. It starts off gently up at the top ring with a nice easy oxer, and then left-hand turn we're going to see a taller vertical, and then down the outside, 5, maybe 6 strides, depending on the horse's stride lengths. We'll see what people do in that option. Down to the double verticals. We'll get a right-hand turn to a bit of a blind oxer at the palm tree jump, and then left-hand turn, a much taller, difficult offset Liverpool right by the in-gate. We'll see how that vertical plays out for a lot of horses drawn towards the gate and then staring down at that Liverpool. It'll be a left-hand turn after that, up the 2-stride oxer vertical, and then a very, especially with the vertical coming out of that 2-stride, that 4 is going to ride extra tight, even down to that delicate red skinny jump, and then it'll be 8 or 9 strides down to the Florida Coast Equipment Kubota oxer with those horizontally striped black and white poles set really deep into the corner. Very delicate jump, hard for the horses to see and jump well off of that bend. Then a right-hand turn to the narrower poles at the black double, vertical oxer 1 stride, and then a short 6 to the Liverpool oxer at the brain Java jump. And then left-hand turn, probably 8 strides, down to number 12 at the Zenelite Equestrian Center vertical to finish us off. So the course is set. Riders are just finishing up their warm-up, but the sun is coming out after a rough, stormy morning, but we are getting ready to see some jumping here. And remember, we'll be here every Sunday for the FEI Meter 50 series throughout the Winter Equestrian Festival season, so make sure to tune in every week to catch the FEI jumping competition. I will be your host for that. Again, it's Danny Waldman, and we're ready to kick off this week's class. Again, lineup this week of this class, 26 horse rider combination featuring some of the very best our sport has to offer. We're going to see our 4-star Grand Prix winner Aaron Vale from yesterday, but he'll be on a different mount with Obi-Wan. We've got our World Games team gold medalist Adrian Sternlicht and her longtime partner Benny's Legacy, just coming back from some time off. Egypt's Nile Nasser with Dorado de Riverland. He has had a very good week here. He placed 2nd in our qualifier. I think he was 4th. He was certainly clear in our Grand Prix yesterday, maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that. And of course, we're going to see our winning combination from Thursday's Grand Prix qualifier, Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Runs Hesed. All right, our first has made their way into the ring. And we're going to start out with Jessica Lido and Mistral, the 2012 gelding by Vingo van de Kappel with a Darko mother. Mistral is owned and ridden by Jessica Lido of the USA. She's just taken a little bit of a tour of the arena. And we're going to see our time allowed is set at 72 seconds for this first round competition of the 39,000 Zenelite Equestrian Center CSI 4-star Meter 50. Buzzer has started, and Jessica Lido Lito will get us underway. Again, first jump starting up at the top of the ring with the IDA Oxer. It's a little bit rampy, a nice gentle start to this meter 50. A really inviting jump for the horses. And let's see how it looks. So it's a left-handed turn, back on this vertical. And she's going to stay out and get straight for this line alongside the wall. She does 5 strides into the double verticals. She has B coming out. She stays steady here to the Oxer. Gets a little bit deep. You could see she was trying to fit the stride in. Just ended up a little bit underneath that Oxer. Has the front pole. Good ride there at the offset Liverpool by the in-gate. There she really boxed the energy together. She'll have to steady up for this 4. Yeah, that 4 stride with the vertical coming out of the double is going to be difficult. Down to that Oxer at number 9. Right-hand turn down this final line. Beautiful jumps through the double there. Steady for the 6. Great space. She needed the space there at that front pole for the Liverpool Oxer. Stays out, keeping them straight. She'll finish up with 3 down, 12 jumping faults, 1 on the clock. 72.44 is her time. Again, our time allowed 72 seconds. She's just 0.4 of a second over that time allowed. Again, we will monitor that these first couple of rounds. Andy Christensen, our course designer, has the option to change that time allowed after the 3rd rider goes, but we'll keep an eye on that. And next up, we're going to see USA's Aaron Vale and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is an 11-year-old gelding by Centadel with a Continue mother. Owned by Thinks Like a Horse and Allison Register of Wellington, Florida. Aaron, of course, our winner from yesterday's 4-star Grand Prix on Carissimo. But today he's sitting on Obi-Wan. Again, it's a nice, simple start for these horses. Single, single, and then up the outside line. The ground was a little bit soggier along that outside line than anywhere else on the course. We'll see if that becomes a factor at any point. So he opts to do the steady 6 into the double verticals, has the vertical down. Again, when I walked that 5-stride line, I also thought, I wonder if anyone will do 6. Now he's going to stay snug. He goes inside that Zen vertical to keep as tight as he can with his track to see if he can be quick for falter. 2 there. Steady up in the 4. Good shot there. Does 9 strides to the Kubota. Again, we might see some 8 strides down there with the bigger strided horses, but he keeps it tight into this double. Six strides. And 9 to the last. So he's well within that time allowed, 70.02, but with the 1 down for Aaron Vale and Obi-Wan. Again, we'll keep an eye on that time allowed, but it is 72 seconds at the moment. Our first one was just over. Aaron well under, but with the 1 down. All right, moving on to USA's Adrian Sternlicht and her longtime partner, Benny's Legacy. Benny's Legacy is a 2008 gelding by Lupicor, owned by the Starlight Farms, LLC of Greenwich, Connecticut. Adrian, of course, team gold medalist from the World Equestrian Games back in Tryon. And today she's sitting on Benny's Legacy. Benny's had a bit of a break, so he's just coming back to this level. But she's had tremendous success with this horse over the years. This horse also had a lot of success with Andrew Bournes before she had the ride on it. is a beautiful jumper, very efficient with his legs, stays a little bit straight through the top line, but just a beautiful jumper and very careful. Has a big stride. She steadies up in that 5. He jumps through the double verticals. Great. Good ride there. She gave him lots of space. Really good there at the Liverpool. He really paid attention to that top pole. Steady up in the 4. So she opts to do the forward 8. She just stays on the inside track, keeps him moving, and then she has some speed and space there at the Oxer. Beautiful jump there. Great shot at the 6. She just steadies up early. 1 left to go. And there we go. Just under that time allowed, 71.47 seconds. And she will be our first clear. So Adrian Sternlicht and Benny's Legacy going clear around the track here at this 39,000 Zenelite Equestrian Center, meter 50. So beautiful round. I'm sure she'll be thrilled with that performance. She just kept it very simple and excellently ridden, and the horse jumped beautifully. Don't think he even touched a single pole. All right, so 1 clear, and moving on to Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Run's Faustino de Tilly. Bull Run's Faustino de Tilly is a 2005 mare by Berlin, owned by the Bull Run's Jumpers 5 LLC of Wellington, Florida. This horse has a Cassini 1 mother, and it's a stallion. Of course, she's had tremendous success on this horse. I know his barn name is Frosty, and it has been one of the most winning meter 45 speed horses on the entire circuit for many years. He's so fast, big stride, super careful. And of course, with a rider like Kristen on him, he's got every chance to win these classes. It's funny, it doesn't necessarily look like it would be the fastest horse, but he can jump from such tight angles and such tight rollbacks. You really trust him. He's so careful and so experienced. Steadies up there in the 4. Ooh, a little bit of a hard rub. It kind of bounces in the cup but stays up. She moves up there to the Florida Coast Equipment Oxer. Now she's got to get the balance back, come in steady. Steadies up for that 6. Great shot there. And there we go. Making it 2 in a row. So Bull Run's Faustino de Tilly and Kristen Vanderveen making it onto our good list. So we will be assured a jump off. And you can see she's very happy. Good job, Frosty. And again, she is going to be one to watch for in that jump off because she has won so many of these classes and he is just lightning fast out there. So 2 clear so far, and we'll move on to Nicolette Hurt and Origi Tatigi. This is a 9-year-old mare by Elvis Tapata. And owned by the Chatwood Farms LLC of Wellington, Florida. There you can see she really sits up through the double. Maybe lost the shape a little bit at B, but got over it. This horse looks like it has a bit of a hard jump. He's really cracking his back over the jumps. Ooh, gets a little bit crooked there in the 4. That's why that skinny comes down. Maybe she tried to use a little bit, put a little bit of kind of a shape in there in that 4 to give herself more space, but just ended up a little bit too deep to it. And you could see he was real crooked, and she kind of had to re-guide him to it. And just a little bit unbalanced as she took off. And then she has the front pole of that double. Again, that black double, the poles are much narrower than everything else on course, creating an optical illusion for the horses. Makes it easy to push that front pole out of the way. She'll finish up with 8 faults. Time is 73.25 for Nicolette Hurt and Orici Detigi. All right, moving on to Ireland, Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Gotcha's the 12-year-old mare by Staccato. And owned by Rock Ridge Farms. Simon's had the ride on this horse for a number of years, and I was the former rider on this horse myself. We had this horse as a young horse, and I developed her up till her 7-year-old year. But she was a blast to ride, always careful, and Simon has now even taken her up all the way to the meter 60 level. Had tremendous success on her. She's such a beautiful jumper, really takes you to the jumps, very careful, and can be lightning fast. So he moves up in the 5 so he can steady. Great effort there through the double verticals. Beautiful jump there. This horse had a really adjustable stride. You can see she kind of grabs the ground as she canters. And you can really, if you want to add one more, you can. If you want to leave one out, you can. She has all the power, really pushes off from the ground there. Ooh, tight there in the 4, but she's careful enough to get over that vertical. Stays out to that oxer. Beautiful jump. Coming down this last line. A little bit of push through there. Great jump. Gets up the 6. 1 left to jump. Keeps the balance up. And there we go. 69.03 and clear for Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. So that's 3 on the good list so far. Coming back for our jump off. And good pet there for her. That was a beautiful round. So the course is riding very well for the riders out there. Clearly, this morning's rainstorm and the past 24 hours or so of heavy rains have not affected the course whatsoever. The ground looks really solid out there, and the horses are jumping beautifully. And I'm sure the riders are very happy not to be getting soaking wet at the moment. All right, moving on to Ireland's Conor O'Regan and Mendini DR. Mendini DR is a 11-year-old mare by Hunter Sendix and owned by the Dynamite Ranch LLC of Terrell Hills, Texas. Hunter Sendix was a stallion that was ridden by Eric Lamaze in the past. He's actually produced quite a lot of hunters, oddly enough. Hunter Sendix as his name. But let's see if Conor O'Regan and Mendini can add their name to the good list. Sitting on 3 clear at the moment. And I didn't mention yet, but they actually moved that time allowed to 74 seconds. So it went up 2 seconds from the original. Most people opting to do the 5 there in that line. Again, we've seen one do 6. It did walk a little bit long in the 5, but it seems to be working out for most of the riders. Oh, you could see he was trying to fit the stride. He tried to keep it kind of active, which is important when you're shortening the horse's stride. You want to keep the stride active. You don't want to shorten by going slower. So you could see he was trying to keep it short and active, but just wasn't able to get it done fast enough and does have that skinny down. Good effort there at the Liverpool Oxer. Moves up a little bit to the last, clears that, but we'll finish up with the 4 faults. Time is 68.62 for Connor O'Regan and Mendini DR. As you can see, the sun is coming out, and we're sitting on 3 clear at the moment. But moving on to Australia's Matt Williams and Interactive Mortgage Tolero 3. This is an 8-year-old gelding by Tangelo van de Zoetova with a Lordanos mother. And a great fact about Tangelo as a sire. Tangelo has particularly good semen, which makes people use it a lot of times when they're having trouble with getting their mares pregnant. Seems to be very potent. So you'll see a number of Tangelos out there, very scopy horses. Jumped a little bit low through the body there at A of the double. Has a little bit of a rub, but gets away with it. This horse maybe not having the easiest of gallops, but Matt is such a good rider. Beautiful shot there. Now he needs to steady up. Yeah, you could see Matt really sit up early thinking about that short 4 strides, and then the horse just having the back pole coming out of the double. And there, just got there a little bit early in that 1 stride, pushing that front pole out of the way. And then maybe the horse gets a little bit casual at that Liverpool Oxer, having that down as well. So he will finish up with 3 down on the course, 12 faults. Time is 71.84 for Matt Williams and Interactive Mortgage Tolero 3. All right, moving on to USA's Catherine Passmore and Curious Friday. Curious Friday is 12-year-old mare by Cardento with a Camaro M mother. Catherine representing her home country of the USA. And as you can see, she's got a hackamore on, so no bit in the horse's mouth, and a little bit of a shadow roll. And that's the brown fuzzy thing on the horse's nose. Sometimes the horses that can look down a little bit at the base of the jump and sometimes don't always focus on that top pole, that shadow roll can make a big difference and really help if you have one that kind of studies the jumps and looks down a tad. And Catherine's been riding this horse in a hackamore for a long time. But I've seen this horse jump in Europe with Catherine a couple of years ago, and it is such a good animal. Beautiful body control there by Catherine. You could see her really just sit up, let the horse jump up to her. If you ever hear your trainer talking about that, you want to hold that upper body and have the jump. You want to feel like the horse's withers come jumping towards you versus you going down towards them. And Catherine does a great job of sort of sitting up and letting the horses come to her. That's how you can create a good shape and give them the best opportunity to clear the jumps. Does pop the back pole there, having the skinny down. Again, we're seeing that jump come down a lot. It is difficult. When you have the 2 strides with the vertical coming out, the horses land even further into the line, and that skinny is delicate, and the short 4. There, gets there a little bit early in the 6, had A as well of the double, and looking like she is just going to wave her hand and retire within the round. So, Catherine Passmore and Curious Friday, calling it a day, and they'll come back another time. All right, moving on to USA's Elena Haas and Santana. Santana is the 12-year-old mare by Centadel This horse came out of Holland. It was ridden by Kimberly and Mark Martins. Santana is owned and ridden by Elena Haas of Oakland, California. Elena working with Andrew Wells down here in Florida. And she is one of our younger riders, stepping her way up in these higher level classes. She's getting great experience and learning the ropes of jumping the high level sport. This horse looks really scopy. It's by a stallion called Centadil, which was a stallion that Paul Schockenmuller in Germany has. A little bit shift there. You could see the horse kind of take off on the left corner and then shift to the right. And then just looking like she was getting there a little bit gappy in the 5. And the horse just saying, I'm not sure. Are we supposed to add one more? Are we supposed to leave early? Just looked like he was a little bit confused coming into those double verticals. And Elena going to take another shot at it. Again, that 5 strides. You need to move up early in order to get there steadying and balance. The biggest thing with jumping double verticals is that the horses are super balanced because it's a real athletic test because they need to curl their body and then land, take one stride and curl their body again. So it's a lot of effort on the horse's part, and when they come in a little bit unbalanced, they're sometimes a little bit uncomfortable and they lose some confidence and say, that looks like it's going to be hard to jump without the balance. Good shot there. Steadying up in the 4, just a little bit, getting there a little bit deep. That's why it has that down. Just couldn't finish the shape of the jump behind. Scopy through that double. She stays out and does 10 to the last. She will pick up a few time faults. 8 jumping, 9 on the clock. Time is 82.87 for Elena Haas and Santana. So she will learn from that and come back stronger tomorrow. All right, moving on to Lebanon's Jad Dana and Hitchcock de Dams. Hitchcock is a 9-year-old gelding by Marius Claudius with a Calvaro mother. And owned by the Itchy Group of Wellington, Florida. This horse is Swedish bred. And Marius Claudius, the stallion of this horse, won a lot of big Grand Prix with Harvey Smith in the UK, and it bred only later in life because it was in the sport, jumping a lot of those Grand Prix, but it's given some really good horses. This horse, Hitchcock, was ridden by Tiago Rivas da Costa in the past as well. Beautiful shape jump. A little bit of a right drift. You can see Jad just trying to keep the horse straight. A little bit of that left opening rein to keep him in the middle of the jumps. And Jad, of course, working with Leslie Howard. And we'll see a lot of the horses under Jad and Leslie herself without a martingale. They like the freedom of their head and neck and not using a martingale. Really good effort there. The horse really backed up, curled around that skinny. A little bit deep there at that oxer, but the horse really jumped up and away from it with his front legs. Oh, does have A coming into the double there. Again, that double is hard to jump. Black poles are always hard for the horses to see, and they're much narrower poles than everything else out on the course, so creating an optical illusion of being bigger than they really are. Finishing up 4 faults, 68.85 for Jad and Hitchcock de Dams. So just having that vertical coming into the last double. We'll have to settle on the 4 faults. All right, moving on to Ireland's Philip McGuane and Orphea HQ. Orphea HQ is a 9-year-old mare by Emerald with an E-Pleaser Vanta Hike mother. This horse is owned by the Evergate Stables, LLC of Wellington, Florida. This horse is Belgian bred, of course, by the famous Emerald. Emerald, the horse ridden by Harry Smolders. It's a big chestnut stallion with a lot of white on him, and he was a very expressive jumper. Used to buck and play all the time. But we see really gummy athletic horses and a prolific breeder in the sport these days. It's very commercial. People love to breed with him. Horses tend to be very, very good behind. And because that was a trait that Emerald himself had. And you see, another chestnut with a lot of white. Very simple through there. Here we see another horse without a martingale. He does have that elastic strap around the chest. That just helps keep the saddle in place, but it is elastic, so it allows for a lot of movement of the shoulders as the horse is cantering and jumping. Just gets there a little bit deep, jumps a little bit over its front end, doesn't quite get his front legs out of the way. Balance was a little bit on the head as he took off there at that skinny. Again, that's been the most common fault we've seen come down today. And I did think that was a difficult one when I walked the course. Just hard to get the balance after jumping a double, a little bit downhill and to the skinny. So he'll finish up. Time is 68.39 with just the skinny down for 4 faults with Philip McGuane and Orphea HQ. Still sitting on the 3 clear. And we're going to move on to Roberto Terran, Tafour, and Santana, representing Colombia with the 10-year-old gelding by Cascadello and the Cartago mother. And Santana, owned by Rocking Basilisk Farm, LLC of Lexington, Kentucky. Mother of this horse was a good national horse in Germany. Didn't do so much international competition, but was a well-known national horse that won quite a lot. And this horse is out of Cascadello. Cascadello is a young stallion. He was sort of champion in the young horse classes as a 2- and 3-year-olds. And the oldest ones are now just reaching the higher level of the sport. Ooh, just looks like he spooked a little bit there. Was balking, didn't want to quite go to the first jump. Oh, good job there by Roberto to get him over the jump. Again, that first oxer is really set up against the rail. And sometimes the horses just shy away from the stands. He looked like he was just looking at something, but well done with Roberto to get him going. Opting now to keep him balanced, doing the steady 6. Oh, great jump out there at B. That really helped set up the balance. He jumped out. Maybe the best of any horse in the class. This horse jumps high, looks real careful, has a lot of blood. Very expressive jumper. Really, you can see the gallop really grabbing the ground. Again, just getting there a little bit early in that 4 strides. Not only does the vertical coming out of that 2-stride double make it more difficult because the horses, their arc lands further away from verticals than it does from oxers, but that 4 walked really almost a full meter short. So it was very, very short, and one of the most delicate jumps on the course being that red skinny with the solid poles. So he'll have just that 4 faults. Time is 71.93 with the 1 down for Roberto Terran, Tafour, and Santana. So after a little bit of a difficult start, he got him going. Well done, but does have that skinny down. Okay, moving on to Australia's Tyza Erwin and Vanturo. Vanturo is a 12-year-old gelding. And I actually don't know the breeding of this horse. I tried to look it up, but it is unknown. This horse was originally ridden by Gavin Moylan from Canada. But horses really like Tyza. They always seem to jump well for her. This one really taking her to the jumps. It's nice kind of uphill balance. She can kind of just steady against him. Jumps through that. Gets a little bit deep, has a little bit of a rub, but gets lucky. That one stays up. She stays out in the 9. Good shot there. They're actually jumping that oxer on the end there better than I thought they would. Again, those horizontal stripe poles are an optical illusion. It makes the poles look like they're moving to the horses. But they're all jumping that quite well. I didn't think they would. She'll just stay out here to the last one. Keep an eye on her time. She's been a little bit patient. But she's all right, 72.42. And into the jump off for Tyza and Ventura. So that's making it 4 on the good list. Giving our horse a good pet. Good boy. So 4 on the good list now for the jump off. And we'll move on to USA's Aaron Vale and Addermy R4. Very complicated name. Aaron, of course, our winner from our 4-star Grand Prix yesterday. But today he's sitting on Addermy R4. This horse, a 10-year-old mare by Denham Blue R with a Nemesis mother. This horse is owned by Thinks Like a Horse of Morriston, Florida. Jumps in a beautiful shape. The mother, the dam sire of this horse, Nemesis, always producing really sensitive blood horses, and you can see that in this one. Oh, has B coming out there. Just looked like the balance was a little bit off and jumped a little bit too low. And again, Aaron having the one down, so being quick, going inside that vertical there up the top. We haven't seen too many people do that. The time is fair enough that they don't need to do that to stay within the time. But Aaron thinking for sure wants to now try to be a quick 4 faulter with only 4 clear at the moment. This is a $39,000 class, so the prize money and, of course, those 4-star world ranking points are very valuable. Moves up a little bit in the 6, a little bit of a stretch across that oxer, but gets over it and balancing up to the last. Time is 69.70 with the 4 faults, sitting in 8th place at the moment for Aaron Vale. So, good round, but did have that early fence at B of the double verticals. We will move on to Canada's Emma Irwin and Chocotago. Chocotago is the 11-year-old gelding by Choco Blue with the Cartago mother. Of course, you can see where the name came from, Chocotago. You'll see that a lot in Europe. They love to try to combine the sire and dam sire names to create a hybrid name for the progeny. Chocotago is owned and ridden by Emma Irwin herself of Beach Island, South Carolina. This horse really taking her to the base of the jumps and then jumping up and around. That was beautiful through there. You can see the balance of this horse is not necessarily the easiest. He really takes her sort of almost too close to the jumps. She's just having to sit up and lean against the horse. But good thing he's very, very quick in front. Little bit deep there. Ooh, ends up doing 3 in the 2. 4 works out fine for her. Jumps beautifully through that double. Adds leg up to that Liverpool oxer. A little bit deep to the last. Gets over that. Time is 72.25 with just the 1 down for 4 faults for Canada's Emma Irwin. So just ended up a little bit too deep coming into that double. Good effort to try to get out of the way of the front pole, but pops the back as jumps in at 7A. So that came down, but we'll move on to USA's and Nicolette Hurt and Chatu 7. Chatu 7 is 2009, gelding by Choco Blue with a Toulon mother. Owned by the Chatwood Farms, LLC of Wellington, Florida. Nikki Hurt in the irons. This was a former ride of Nikki Shahinian Simpson. Nicolette has had this horse for a number of years. I've watched her jump many classes on him. He's been a really solid mount for her over the years. Again, this horse out of Choco Blue. Choco Blue horses are very bloody. Can sometimes even be a little bit strong. A little bit deep there. As a slight rub, the arc of the jump was just a little bit past the center point of the parabola. And you can see that's why he rubbed the front pole, but that stayed up. A little bit of leg there through the 2. She'll have to sit up here hard for the 4. Ooh, great effort on the horse's part to just pop over that skinny. A little bit of extra leg there at the oxer. Looking good so far. Let's see how this last line goes. Good shot through the double. Gives a little extra encouragement. A little bit deep to the last. Oh, and the last one comes down. How sad. 72.49 with the final fence coming down for 4 faults for Nicolette Hurt and Chatu 7. So got a little bit strong and just got a little bit too deep. Took off and just couldn't finish the shape of the jump and has the last one down behind. All right, heading back to Australia's Matt Williams and Fayuri AWR. Fayuri AWR is a 10-year-old mare by Favorite Ask and owned by Skyline Sport Horses, LLC of Wellington, Florida. This horse, big, expressive jumper, really grabs the ground on takeoff. Beautiful jump there. This looks like a super fun horse to ride. Look at that power off the ground. We don't see that so often. It's a lot of blood. This looks like a really sporty horse. And you want to see that in horses. You want to see them kind of jump that. The last stride is almost like a mini little jump. They really poof, pop off the ground. This looks like it would be a blast to ride. Ooh, just too quick there through the double. You could see just took off at B, just way too much momentum. That's the thing, when you have a bloody horse like this, it's all about containing that energy so that they jump up and not too forward. Again, similar thing there coming into the double, just hurrying the shape of the jump a little bit. Great shot there at the oxer. Steadies up there, clears the last. But we'll have to settle for 2 down, 8 faults, 68.50 for Matt Williams and Fayuri AWR. So, 10-year-old, this is a big enough level. I'm sure the horse is just coming into this higher level at the sport. But that looks like it'll be a good one for the future. Just needs to learn to take its time at those verticals. But a solid round. All right, going back to Adrian Sternlicht. This time she's sitting on Clemens 72. Clemens 72 is a 9-year-old gelding by Choco Blue with a Canthargos mother. Clemens owned by the Starlight Farms 1 LLC of Greenwich, Connecticut. Adrian clear on her first entry, Benny's Legacy. She was our Pathfinder. But let's see if she can do it again on Clemens 72. Clemens is absolutely beautifully bred. If you see this on paper, you almost couldn't get better breeding. The mother also jump 150. There's so many great horses in the family of this horse. Oh, look at that big, beautiful jump. It's not only beautiful breeding, but it's really classic Paul Schockemuller breeding with the Choco Blue Canthargos. Wow. She's just steady there, and the horse just fires, jumps super high, steady into the double. This horse has tons of scope. And the mother, like I said, look at that, great jump. Not only was it a horse that she herself jumped 150, but it's by Canthargos. Canthargos stallion that actually died recently, but it's very popular. And the horses from Canthargos are like gummy, elastic, big, sporty horses. Great job there by Adrian. You could see that 4 stride has been very difficult for the riders, and she just sat up, steadied, fit every single stride of the 4, and then the horse could really fire around the skinny, and then she just moved up in the 8 across to that oxer. That was really well executed. Wow, big jump. 1 left to go. Keep an eye on this time. She looks a little bit snug with the time. And she will, unfortunately, pick up a time fault. So 1 time fault time is 74.95 for Adrian. She'll sit in 5th place at the moment behind the 4 clears. But can't really falter. That was an exceptional jumping round by Clemens and Adrian Sternlicht. So she will have 1 in the jump off and the other one clear with a time fault. Heading back to USA's Elena Haas and Claude this time. Claude is an 11-year-old gelding by Captain Jack and a Cephalo mother. Also owned and ridden by Elena herself. Source German bred out of, Westphalian bred warm blood. Let's see how she rides this line. Didn't work out so well for her on her first horse, so let's see how she executes this one. There just looked like the horse kind of just stuttered on takeoff. Didn't quite know where he was taken off from. So had that oxer. The line worked out well for her, though. Again, she's getting great experience at this level. Nice shot there. Does that simply in the 4 strides. Then moves up here. Maybe moved up and the horse just got a little bit long and strung out. Has that front pole of the oxer. Again, if you opt to do the 8 there, you can move up. But if you move up and lengthen the horse, they sometimes can get a little bit strung out. And then they don't have the right balance to take off and clear that front pole. That's what's happening there. Steadies up to the last. Finishing up 72.62 with 8 faults for Elena Haas and Claude. So we've got 4 coming back so far for the jump off. And a few remaining to jump this first round. First of those is going to be Egypt's Nile Nasser and Dorado de Riverland. 10-year-old gelding by Untouchable with an Argentinus mother. Owned by the Evergate Stables, LLC of Wellington, Florida. It's It's a French-bred Celle Francais horse. An Untouchable, the sire of this horse, was a Quick Star son. Quick Star, of course, wonderful horse in the past. Jumped a lot of Grand Prix, Untouchable. It's not necessarily the most famous stallion out there, but he's bred some really nice horses. And Niall last week coming off his 5-star win out in California. But he's had a solid week here. He was second in our qualifier. Jumped clear in the Grand Prix yesterday. Strong ride into the double. He'll have to sit up here for the 4. You can see the way this horse jumps, a little bit just style. It's a little bit slow with the front end to make sure that he keeps those knees even, but Dorado doing it in his own way. That's all that really matters. Ooh, pretty as pretty does, I was going to say, but there you can see just jumped up real high out of the double, landing a little bit shallow. Clears the last, but we'll have to settle for the 4 fault. 68.44 for Niall, Nasser, and Dorado de Riverland. So it was looking good till that final round. And jumped a good, but you could see Niall added a lot of leg coming out of that double, but the horse just jumped up high to get away from that front pole, and just a little bit shallow on the back pole. So we're sitting on the 4 clear at the moment. Jump Crew is just replacing one quick thing as our next one. Making it into the ring, it's USA's Kristen Vanderveen and her winning mount from Friday's Grand Prix qualifier, the 9-year-old Bull Runs Hesed. It's a 9-year-old gelding by Christian 25 with a Lord Z mother. I hadn't seen this horse jump before Thursday, but I loved it. Jumped great. It's only 9, but it is sporty and quick. And of course, Kristen's such a fast rider. Let's see what today's meter 50 holds for Kristen and Bull Runs Hesed. This horse, very simple, small, delicate little head on him, but big jump. You can see looks really scopy, jumps this so easy. Only 9 years old. So just getting up to this high level. She opts to do the 6 strides, and I think that was a very smart move for her. She landed, put a little bit of sort of shape. It is a straight line, but she kind of put a little bit of a bend in it just to help her fit those 6 strides so that the horse was extra balanced for the double verticals. Great jump there. Beautiful jump there. A little bit of a rub coming out in front. There she sits up for the 4. Horse snakes over that. Neat turn back into the double. Just 2 left to go for Kristen. Big stretch there across the Liverpool Oxer. Stays out to the last. Nice space at the last vertical. Well within that time allowed, 69.36, and clear for Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Runs Hesed. So we'll see if she can make it a 2-fer this week. Big smile on her face. Always nice when you have a 9-year-old horse that you're developing and it's now jumped 2 big classes of the 4-star week. Clear. And we'll see her back shortly for our deciding round. We've got 2 left to jump in this first round of the 39,000 Zen Elite Equestrian Center CSI 4-star meter 50. And the first of those remaining 2 is going to be USA's Catherine Passmore and Freedom de SB. Freedom de SB is a 12-year-old gelding by Ogonacita with a Fabulo de Gamut mother. This horse owned and ridden by Catherine Passmore herself. Source was a former ride of Kim Thurley out of Belgium. Gets down the 5. Simple through that double verticals. Nice shot there. Again, we were talking about it earlier. Catherine having great body control. She'll have to sit up here. A little bit of a rub there. Oh, just getting there too early to the skinny. Then she moves up to do the 8 to that oxer. Again, another one fallen victim to that red skinny. Sits up, then keeps the energy to that oxer. Stays on the inside track here to the last, trying to be a quick 4 faulter. Time is 68.52 with the 4 faults, slotting into 9th place at the moment for Catherine and Freedom SB. So worst she'll end up is 10th and sitting in 9th at the moment, so she'll certainly pick up a little bit of prize money and some world ranking points for today. And our last to go is going to be Canada's Tiffany Foster and Northern Light. It's a 12-year-old mare by Plot Blue with a contender mother. Tiffany, of course, Olympian for Canada and has won countless Grand Prix, represented her home nation on Senior Nations Cup teams, been to the World Games, been to the Olympics. Very seasoned rider, and today she's sitting on Northern Light. Horse is owned by the Artisan Farms LLC out of Brookfield, Wisconsin. Just keeping it patient there and then opting to do the 6 into the double verticals. That was really well executed. She really thought about how she wanted to come into that line in order to do the 6. Then she picks up the pace a little bit here, thinking about her time allowed. A little bit of a cross counter around the turn, but doesn't affect the balance or the jump at all. Beautiful shot here. Just snakes over that skinny at the 4 strides. Beautiful jump there at the oxer. Good shot into the double. Nice big jump at the oxer. 1 left to go. She'll clear that. Time is 68.68, and that will make it 6 on the good list. So we're going to see 6 come back for the jump off in this 39,000 Zenelite Equestrian Center, meter 50 for our final FEI class, not only of today's Holiday 2, but also of the 2023 season here in Wellington International. Stay tuned. We'll be back with you shortly with the jump off of this class. And we'll see you guys soon. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the $39,000 Zenolite Equestrian Center CSI 4-star meter 50. Tractors are just making their final passes around the course, and we're getting set for the jump off of this meter 50 competition. 6 horse rider combinations made it into our deciding round. First of those is going to be Adrian Sternlicht and Benny's Legacy. Then we're going to see Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Run's Faustino Datilli. Simon McCarthy and Gotcha, Tiza Erwin and Vanturo, Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Runs Hesed, and finishing off that 6 is going to be Tiffany Foster and Northern Light. So we've got some very, very fast competitors in our jump off. I think it's going to be a very exciting jump off to round out this week's final FEI class here for the Zenolite Equestrian Center meter 50. Tractors are just finishing up. It is very windy out there. The wind is absolutely howling, but it's helping to dry up what was a very stormy last 24 hours here in Wellington, Florida. And our riders are just making their final preparations in the warm-up. Tractors are making their way out, and we will get underway shortly with the conclusion of this class. First round was very good with some excellent show jumping. The course rode difficult enough. It was sort of a soft start, and there were a number of different jumps around the course that came down. A couple of different questions that Andy Christensen, our course designer, set. Of course, that skinny red vertical across the middle proving to be the most difficult jump to jump. But 6 made it on to the good list. Jump off course is going to be number 1, but backwards, and now a vertical, and then a right-hand turn down to the Omega Alpha Supplements Oxer. That was number 3 in the first round. Then right-hand turn to a new jump at 15, left-hand turn to that black vertical Oxer double, straight ahead in that 6 strides to the Brain Java. Then left-hand turn back to what was the red skinny. You can see it here now. It's number 8. It's now not a skinny. It has regular stripe poles, wider, so much easier for the horses to jump. And then long run down to the Florida Coast Equipment Kubota Oxer to finish it off. We'll see if anyone does 7 strides, but I don't think so. I think 8's going to be the number down there, the last. So getting us started, USA's Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Run's Faustino Datilli. Of course, this is her super speedy mount that she has won countless classes on. Let's see how fast she's going to go today. She was our winner in our Grand Prix qualifier on her other horse, which will also be coming back in this jump-off. So Kristen with 2 shots to win this class today. Here we go. She does 10 strides, 7, and then the double. She did have that Oxer, of course, down. Sits up there, does the 6. We might see somebody try to do 5 there. Turn back, big kick there. Stays out. Do number 9, and sure time is 35.33, but with the 1 down at number 2 in the jump off, she will have the 4 faults. Time 35.33. So, seemed like pretty quick time, but let's see what everyone else can do to try to catch her. And of course, somebody looking for that clear round on the double clear to get this jump off going. Kristen, of course, will have another shot on her other horse, Bull Runs Hesed, to give it another go. You can see a little bit of frustration on her face, saying, just didn't work. So, Frosty with the 1 down. And we'll just wait for our next one to come in the ring. It's going to be Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Again, Adrian Sternlicht was supposed to be our leadoff rider in the jump off. She did not. She elected not to return. So I think we're only going to see 5 jump off. But The next of those is going to be Ireland, Simon McCarthy, and Gotcha. Gotcha, the 12-year-old mare by Staccato, owned by Rock Ridge Farms of Norman, Indiana. All right, let's see what Simon does. This horse, of course, can be very fast. She's very agile. And he can really make some sharp turns, and she's so careful. Let's see what he does. Ten strides there. 8 strides. And now he's over to the double. Got to set him up a little bit here with the vertical coming in. Great shot. Does the 6. Have to be tight back here. I have to go around this little island. Gets 8. And 8 strides to the last. And that'll be double clear. 35.89. Our automatic leader with the clear round. So 35.89 is going to be the time to beat, set by Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. So super round. That'll be our first double clear. Oh, and here is Adrian Sternlich. Maybe she had lost a shoe or something in that warm-up. It's probably why she was not going into her original place. But here she is with Benny's Legacy. I was talking to Adrian before the class, and she was saying this was a really good jump-off for her horse. And again, he'd had a bit of a break, so he's just coming back. So we'll see how much she pushes him, but I'm sure she'd like to try to win this class if she can. Benny very careful, and Adrian, of course, a very fast rider. This horse has a big stride, so he can really cover the ground, and she trusts him to be super careful. So let's see what she does. We've seen 9 and 10 up this first line. She does the 9. And she tries to do 9. It gets a little bit deep, and Benny just not wanting to leave the ground from that spot. Again, super careful horse. Sometimes they just get a little bit insecure. Now Adrian will just try to keep it together and get Benny a good confident ride around the rest of this jump off. Patient here, jumps through the double great. Just trying to keep your cool. Of course, frustrating for the rider, but again, now just wanting to give the horse a chance to rebuild that confidence. Let's try to give him a nice shot here at this vertical. Eight strides there. She'll have the last down, but that won't matter so much. Time 71.97 with the 2 down. So 27 time faults for Adrian and Benny's Legacy. Again, our time allowed in this jump off is 45 seconds, but that usually not playing such a role with those trying to win the class. All right, we will move on to Tyza Erwin of Australia and Vanturo. The 11-year-old gelding, owned by Michael and Wendy Smith of Middleburg, Virginia. Time to beat 35.89, set by Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Let's see if Tyza can catch that speedy round. I thought Simon was very quick, but not necessarily unbeatable, but he was certainly fast. We'll see if Tyza is going to give it a go. This horse, very scopy, big stride. Let's see what she does down this first line. Does 11. Simon did 10. Good shot at the double. Maybe she'll do 5. Nope, she's going to go for the 6. Steadies up. She's right on the same tracks on the ground that I see from Simon, but gets the 7 down to the last. But time is a little bit slower, 36.87 into second place. But on the double clear for Tiza Erwin and Ventura. 36.87 on the clear for Tiza and Ventura. So super round there, but not quite quick enough to catch that leading time of 35.89 set by Gotcha and Simon McCarthy. We've got 2 left to contest. Again, Kristen Vanderveen jumped her first horse, and now she's got to hop back on to her second one, warm him up again, and warm her up. But again, it's her winning mount from the other day in our Grand Prix qualifier. So let's see if she can make it a twofer on Bull Runs Has Said. Just slight pause while we let her warm up. Again, she had to hop off her other one, get back on. So slight delay, but giving her a fair chance to warm up. And we've got 2 left. Again, Simon McCarthy and Gotcha leading the way 35.89 at the moment, with Tiza Erwin and Ventura sitting in second. Just a full second behind. So it has been a super day of show jumping here. Again, this is the presentation of the 39,000 Zenelite Equestrian Center CSI 4-star meter 50. But make sure to tune in every Sunday throughout the winter season at the Winter Equestrian Festival here at Wellington International for the meter 50 series that we'll be bringing live to you each Sunday throughout the winter season. And stay tuned later for our National Grand Prix. It's the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix coming up later today. We're just waiting on our remaining 2 to see who's going to take this meter 50 class and the decider of our jump off. That time to beat 35.89. Like I said, it is windy out there today, making it a little bit annoying for the riders warming up. But once you're in the ring, you kind of forget about the weather and you just think about the job at hand. But sometimes when it's this windy, it can make the flower pots and everything on the sides of the jump move around, and the horses can kind of look at them. But the flags are whipping and the wind is blowing. But that's helping dry up the ground. And I even see the sun poking through. You would never know that it was a very stormy day earlier this morning. It was just deluging with rain, but now it looks kind of pleasant out. Again, we are just waiting for Kristen Vanderveen to finish her warm-up to contest on Bull Runs Has Said. Got 2 remaining. We're going to see Kristen and then Tiffany Foster. And it's looking like there she goes. She's ready. All right, so we've got USA's Kristen Vanderveen and Bull Runs Has Said. It's her winning mount from Thursday's Grand Prix qualifier. She was very fast on Thursday. Let's see if she can beat Simon McCarthy's time of 35.89 on the double clear with Gotcha. Kristen looking very relaxed on the loose rein, just letting her horse chill out, walk into the arena. And they will start that countdown clock shortly. And again, keeping an eye on that first line if she's going to do 9 or 10. Remember, Gotcha did 10 and then 8 after that. Let's see what Kristen does. This is not the biggest horse. Kristen did 9 on her other horse, Faustino de Tilly. But let's see what she chooses on this one. Just picking up the canter, and off we go. Now she's picking it up a little bit. I think she's probably going to do 10. There we go. Good shot there. Big ride there to the vertical. Gets it on the same stride as Simon. A little bit of a rub there, but jumps great. Steadies up in the 6. She's got to get a good shot now. She's a little bit wider than Simon's tracks, but a good shot. Does the 7. Oh, but has the last one down. 35-1-2. Had the time, but with the last one down, she will have to settle for sitting in 3rd at the moment. Again, good shot there. She had that time by a couple of tenths of seconds, but with the last fence coming down and 4 fault, she'll have to settle for 3rd at the moment. And our last one to go is Canada's Tiffany Foster and Northern Light. The 12-year-old mare entry from Artisan Farms LLC. Let's see if Tiffany can catch the leading time of 35.89 and the clear set by Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Again, we know that time is beatable because we just saw it with Kristen van der Veen, but we got to leave the jumps up because Simon is sitting on the double clear. All right, start clock going for Tiffany. This horse does have a big stride. Let's see what she opts to do from 1 to 2 and if she can catch Simon's time. All right. Does the 10. Does the 8. So same strides as Simon. Got to stay here as quick as she can. Maybe she'll opt to do the 5. Nope. Sticks to the 6 there, but a beautiful jump. She also is a little bit outside those tracks. Got to keep moving. Gets the 7. Clears it. Time is 35.44, and that will take the win here for Tiffany Foster. 35.44 and the double clear. She will be our winner. Final one to go. Big smiles for Tiffany. So it's going to look like Tiffany Foster and Northern Light win this 39,000 Zen Elite Equestrian Center meter 50 for the final FEI class here at Holiday 2. Simon McCarthy will finish in 2nd with Gotcha. And Bull Run, and Van Toro and Tyza Erwin will sit in 3rd. So this was a super class. Our last one to go takes the win for Tiffany Foster and Northern Light. Caught him at the end there, I think. Simon did 8 to the last. Tiffany catching that 7, and that worked out for her. This has been a super presentation. We'll have the prize giving ceremony coming up shortly. Jump crew there just setting up. And we saw 6 make it into our deciding round from 26 original entries. Tiffany Foster taking the win here with Northern Light. They will just get that cooler and ribbon on the horses in the back, and they'll be in here shortly for a prize giving ceremony. Luckily, nobody's getting wet with the rain. And the jump crew will be out there setting the course for the upcoming National Grand Prix coming up at 12:30. They might have bumped that back actually to 1 o'clock. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But first round of this class rode really well. We saw a lot of faults coming down at that red skinny. But once they changed it out in the jump off, everybody left it up in the jump off. And again, Tiffany Foster and Northern Light taking the win here today for the Zen Elite Equestrian Center meter 50. This is our final week of FEI jumping competition here at Wellington International, but of course we'll be back in early January with more FEI competition, 13 weeks of show jumping for the Winter Equestrian Festival. That premiere week coming up the first week in January. And make sure to tune in each week, Wednesday through Thursday, for the live stream We'll be covering most of those FEI classes and, of course, some of the national classes as well. And thanks again to the official veterinarian, Palm Beach Equine Clinic. Palm Beach Equine Clinic is pleased to announce that it's advancing its breeding services and now offering OPU and ICSI sessions. ICSI has become an invaluable tool for overcoming fertility issues and provides a method of producing foals with limited interruption to the mare's competition schedule. To learn more about OPU sessions offered this season at Wellington International, contact Palm Beach Equine Clinic at 561-793-1599. There's our third place finisher, Tyza Erwin. Then Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Tyza and Ventura finishing in third with a time of 36.89 on the double clear. She'll get her photo taken with her prize. Thanks again to Zenelite Equestrian Center for their presentation of this meter 50 class to round out the 4-star week here at Holiday 2. In second place, we're going to see Simon McCarthy and Rock Ridge Farms Gotcha. His time was 35.89, held throughout the class until our final entry took the win. But that'll be Tiffany Foster of Canada and Northern Light. She's got that nice cooler on, blue rosette, and a big smile for Tiffany. She'll be very happy to round out this FEI competition. This is a lot of the riders' last show this week to round out 2023. Some people take a little bit of a break. There is more show jumping next week here, but no FEI competition. Tiffany, of course, winning this class with a time of 35.44 and the double clear. Thanks again to Zenelite Equestrian Center for this $39,000 CSI 4-star meter 50. Tiffany will do her victory lap. Thank you guys again for watching. I'm Danny Waldman. This has been a presentation of Wellington International. And we'll see you guys back shortly for the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix coming up shortly. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys shortly. Thanks again.